y'all in good now whenever and wherever this finds you. Today we're interviewing Christopher W. Hatton, who's been the main ally here in the beginning of the Phoenix Congress, and he has many different ideas, so I want to share that interview with you now. So I want to welcome Christopher W. Hatton. So Christopher, welcome, and why don't we get a little brief history of who you are, what's your experience, and what you're bringing to the Phoenix Congress?
Sure. Thanks for the opportunity. My name is Christopher Hatton. I am currently living in Albuquerque, New Mexico, starting a family. I'm a brand new daddy and very excited. Some of my more recent experience is involving working at the Michigan State Legislature for the Michigan House of Representatives as, an assistant policymaker, staffer for a rep, and got a lot of good experience on the job in Lansing and also on the campaign circuit. So that was a good amount of exposure to the system and a good amount of, kind of wading through what I liked and what I didn't like. And, kind of at the same time, I was building this love for decentralization and open source and distributed mechanisms that could help, give people power in the way where they become decision makers, for their own sovereignty rather than give that ability up to someone else. I find it very important for people to be able to engage in these types of mechanisms. I think as it relates to the Phoenix Congress, the Phoenix Congress provides a mechanism for there to be an operational, functional, evolving, parallel, developed kind of decision-making mechanism that would instruct our current legislature to be able to kind of bring more of what the people want into the decision-making process. And because right now, a lot of the people's voices are snuffed out by power and influence, and the Phoenix Congress is a mechanism to counteract that force.
Awesome, Christopher. Now, before we go too far, I believe I know enough about your history to know that there became a deal breaker for you when you were in the representatives. And can you expound on what it was that caused you to rethink your position there?
Yeah. So, I was working for a person who I considered to be a friend, a mentor, a teacher, and a father figure. And we had a pretty long history. This individual was my actual professor in my freshman year of college, and he taught me American government and state and local American government. And I remember one of the main point that stuck with me during one of the classes was he said to the class, he's like, we need a system where more people are voting, because the more people that vote, the scareder legislators get. So he kind of made it sound a way to be like, this is a mechanism to where the people have the power and they have the say in who gets to stay and who gets to leave. So in a way that mimics what's going on with the American Union and Phoenix Congress. But that stuck with me. It's like, yeah, if there's more people voting, legislators will pay more attention. It came to the point where my boss came to me and asked me to help create a bill that would limit people's ability to vote in Michigan. And, it kind of went full circle with me at that point to where, I knew that he had succumbed to the power and influence of the system at that point. And I had promised myself to exit if I ever became aware of that. I have all the respect in the world for him, but that he lost me when he asked me to do that. And I said, I can't work for you anymore. I'm sorry. And I left. Yep.
Well, that's a very affirming story of honoring your authenticity and your pledge to yourself. You took a hiatus. Why don't you tell us a little bit about where you are today, how you're moving forward?
I'm definitely moving forward piece by piece now. So when I left the House of Representatives, I completely disconnected from communication and receiving information from any outlet. There were times where my best friend, who's not political, would know what's going on before I did, and that actually felt good, to not know what was going on. So I let that be the base of my change here, is that I don't want to fit to conform the conversations as they've been designed by our centralized media. I want to be able to come up with my own formation of my own conversations when I'm ready to do that. And I'm feeling like I'm ready to start receiving information again, which is a good thing. And then at the same time, I made a decision to start a spiritual advancement type of pathway. So this is the first 18 months of my changing the way I'm thinking in regards to introducing spirituality to my essence. I think that's helped out a tremendous amount, because it's enabled me to work on mastering my own energy, kind of becoming the the frequency within that energy that constantly is built off of positive thinking and positive emotions. So the modality I'm looking at is definitely more on the positive emotional side, and emotion and energy are the same. Met a beautiful woman when I went international travel, and we fell in love and fell out of love. But we were pregnant within a month of meeting each other. So we're currently raising our daughter together, kind of individually having independent lives and helping each other spread the load in regards to parenting. So it's quite an interesting dynamic with the parenting setup. And then me relocating from Michigan to New Mexico has been quite a change. I'm finally going to be getting my own place again. And it's been probably 18 months or so. So I'll be able to spread my legs again and dive fully into accumulating more energy and information moving forward.
All right. So you affirm the belief that we're changing the world by changing ourselves. So now, moving forward, how do you fit into the original plan of the Phoenix Congress? So I would like to hear from you what it was that you told me that caused me to believe that we can move in a more in a place of where we're discussing the possibilities of what the system can be, and moving away from trying to recreate the system as it is.
Sure. I think a lot of us have it in our own mindsets that an avenue to create change is to interact with our socioeconomic system as it exists now and do incremental changes within, some step change, sweeping changes within. What I'm coming to realize here is when we start to try to make solution through the lens of a two-party system vying for a piece of the budget, we kind of are secondary to that mechanism. It's not likely that the legislators are going to vote to cut their legs off in the middle of running a marathon, which is kind of what we're hoping is achieved, in this sweeping change proposal. And I start to think, like, if we focus on changing the system, kind of shifting where one part of the budget is moving, through legislation and appropriation of that legislation, what good does it do if we're not removing dependence of those expenditures by the government? To truly create change, we need to remove the dependence on the government budget, not shift the allocation of the government budget. So that's where my argument comes in. This disruption needs to come from the outside, and having a mechanism on the inside that we can have constant communication with is very important. But the decentralized piece and the disruption that is coming for government and power and influence is going to come from the outside of the system, to me.
So for the rest of the people here at the Phoenix Congress, I want to introduce you, and I think this has done a very good job of that, and I appreciate your openness and honesty. I know that the baby's waking up, and this is our cosmic call to action, and so to get the people here to begin to understand that we just want to see who we are and what we're up to and how we can work together to enhance our ideas. I want to thank Christopher, and I hope this encourages more of us to share our truth of who we are, and that we can see that we do have a group of very talented, passionate people, and we'll be adding to it. I'm sure some of you know others, and I'll be seeing more candidates as we go along. So I hope that you enjoyed this, and I will see you down the road.